pressed down and running over, shall men give into your bosom. For with the same measure that ye mete or give out withal, it shall be measured to you again. And that is so true. Now, when I first started out, what I heard was something that even that preceded that. And it goes back to Malachi 3 and 10. Bring ye all the tithes into the storehouse, that there may be meat in my house, and prove me herewith, said the Lord of hosts, if I will not open you the windows of heaven, and pour you out a blessing, that there shall not be room enough to receive it. Then check this. And I will rebuke the devourer for your sake, and he shall not destroy the fruits of your ground. Neither shall your vine cast her fruit before time in the field, said the Lord of hosts. Remember when we were doing Waddles, The Secret? And it talked about that everything, there is something within the substance of God, the very stuff out of which this physical universe is made, even in its spiritual essence. It wasn't made to stay the same. No. The law of multiplicity is at work. And that's why usually when we send something back, good or bad, positive or negative, when it starts coming back in, you say, woo. And if that is of the goodness of God, then we love it. But there is no such thing as a seed staying in its original form, because that seed was made to multiply. And we have to understand that there's the seeding of our words when we speak. There is the seeding of our gifts. It is the seeding of our talents. Whatever we do, it's like as we put it out there, an expansion takes place. And that's what we need to be aware. And that's why it is necessary for us to live consciously. As we live consciously, we are aware of what we are sending forth. Now, in the Old Testament, the law of tithing, we know that the people brought of their grains and what have you. They brought of their grain, they brought of their flock, especially the peasant caste. They brought of what they had, they brought of their flock. They brought of their goods, such as they were. Now, you're more prominent, and those artisans and what have you, they were the ones that would see more of currency. That was something that developed. And so some say, well, tithing was for the Old Testament. There's something in that scripture, though, of Malachi 3 and 10. The scripture says, prove me. Prove me. And that's why I tell people, move according to your consciousness. And when your consciousness leads you to do something, don't allow somebody else's murmurings to stop you from doing what your heart is leading you to do. The principle is, okay, before they may have bartered for goods, but they were giving of their substance. That's the key thing here. Giving of our substance. In the Jewish tradition, and reading some of the materials on the Kabbalah and what have you, it talks about, it says that practice of giving the tenth, it's like getting the taint, for want of a better word, off of the money, or whatever your goods are. I remember once again being in the country when we had to go to the well to get water, and as we dropped the bucket, when we brought it back, sometime it would be a little debris, and so when we got the pitcher or what have you, we'd have to kind of blow, because we wanted the debris to get back so that we would not consume. Anybody know what I'm talking about? Or am I just really dating myself? You know? And so what happens is, it's like saying, it's almost the concept for me, it's like putting safety on what you have, that as you give God's portion first, you make the way open for nothing to block your increase. The tithing to me is like that road that we're talking about, the road to prosperity. You know, sometimes debris can get in the road and it has to be cleared. You know, when I send my tithes forth, I look for that to be taken care of in my life. I don't know whether you all do or not, but I do. It's like whatever blocks, if anything that appears to create a boulder or what have you in my path, I turn it right back over and say, God, I've done my part now. This is in your hand. Nothing and no one can withhold my good. Because I can claim that, I can affirm it. I heard that from my mother as a child, one of her affirmations. Nothing and no one can withhold my good. And so, when we are able to put forth what we know to do, and you know, and I know right today I'm probably preaching to the choir, you know, because people here, they are involved. But you know, every now and then, we have to arouse our consciousness to remember why we're doing what we are doing. Yes. We can get into rote behavior and we just do it without using the ability to bless the product of our hand as we send it out, realizing that it's going to come back in more than what we send it out. Notice that I said giving is a spiritual practice. Giving is to our living is no different than our body going through the process of inhaling and exhaling.